Was doing some research on a couple products I'm thinking about getting to test out, and I noticed this gap. Toy down, toy down. It's okay though, we keep extra ones around just in case. Beautiful. I apologize for the overly dramatic way to start the video. Hey, it wasn't that dramatic. I was like half asleep when I noticed it. But hey everybody, thanks for tuning back into the channel, and thank you for coming on our adventure today, which is looking to be a tech adventure. Because we're gonna go buy some ink for our printer, that's not the tech part. But as you heard in a previous video, we're thinking about starting a podcast again. And my old H1, which is the OG Zoom H1 recorder, it's pretty outdated. So I'm looking to see about some other audio options that I looked at in the previous video. And I think today, Charlie, we're gonna pull the trigger on it. What do you think? Yeah. But first, Charlie wanted to wash the car and vacuum. Before we do anything else, we have a letter to mail. Good job. So this is not the tech we anticipated talking about today, but there's been a development on the Meta Ray-Ban front. These are them, but different. I'll explain later. But our problem is solved. Evil laugh. So I'm excited to have my Meta Ray-Bans working again, but we gotta make one more stop and then we'll get to the cool tech stuff we started this video to talk about. The cool thing about having kids grow up around electric cars, they can do all the hard work for you. And Yahtzee. So while the car charges, we're gonna head over to Guitar Center to grab something we already looked at in a previous video, but we're making the purchase today. Well, as long as they still have it in stock. I didn't think ahead. This was a, let's jump in the car and go down there decision. Well, that'll be a lesson for us. Always check stock before you drive all the way to that store. So they're sold out. I can order them online, but I'm not an online guy. I'd rather go buy it in person. Because, I don't know, something takes away from the experience, in my opinion, when I do that. Which I know is totally counterproductive considering I'm doing this online right now, but that's just the way my brain works for another day, but we'll talk more about it in a second. So after no luck at Guitar Center, we decided just to hold off for, well, a moment, because, well, I'm impatient, long story short. So I looked, there was another store that had it in stock here in Tucson. That's on the other side. So welcome to Tommy's Hypocrite Hour. I did go ahead and order it online, and we got it the next day. I just don't like ordering things online if I can avoid it. I love going in and actually seeing the product in person, get my hands on it, and see if it's something I really want to invest my money in. But I kind of already knew I wanted to get this, so we went ahead and ordered it. And there it is, the H4 Essential from Zoom. Nice thing is it has two inputs on there for microphones, so I can do two channels at once, and also use the channels that are on there, but it also has TRS inputs, so I can plug in things with just a simple mini adapter, like a mini plug. But I do have an XLR cable that I had lying around from my old podcasting days, and I never thought I'd actually get to use this, but here we are. But there's a little secret about me, guys. I just can't stop with the simple parts. I always end up going big, whether I mean to or not. So what does that mean by going big? That means I went out and got the Rode Podmic to go with it too, because I've been so impressed with the Rode mics and everything else. Why not get a mic to complement my new device? So right now, we're going to test it out. We're going to open it up and go over it. Not in crazy detail just yet. This is going to be more of me showing you what it is. And we're also going to do some comparisons to the H1, the OG that I had that we used to record podcasts on too back in the day. So let's do some audio tests just to have fun, shall we? So first things first, let's just go ahead and open it up. I just have the one camera going right now, so we're not going to go crazy with multiple angles because this is going to be pretty simple. When you open it up, you have a paper in front for packaging and cushioning, and that's literally all she wrote. Here's the device itself. You got the two microphones up top, you got the two XLR inputs on the bottom that also double with that TRS, and you also have a line in and a line out for headphones and for another microphone if need be. Or if you just want to plug it in through just a general, 0.8, 3.5 millimeter. So let's get some batteries in this thing and try it out. It does take two AA, which I got to go grab those. I forgot to bring those upstairs. 2 seconds. So now that we have it open, let's just take some quick looks at the aesthetics. So nothing too crazy. Like the functionality is going to be the same as the H1. So you got the red button in the middle for recording, but obviously that's the only button we will have on here, and there's obviously other options. So recording, you have the mixer option if you want to go into detail and kind of mix on the go, which is kind of neat. You can control microphones 1, 2, and also just a mic that's internal on here as well. And you can skip between tracks as well. So if you look on the side, oh, wrong side, you have the power buttons, again, very similar, same hold buttons. Then you have the doors for the micro SD cards, which I have I think 8 GB in here, but because the way it records, That was plenty. I recorded hours and hours and hours with no loss. And over here, I put in a 128 gigabyte that I had lying around. That's what happens when you have a lot of cameras. You got random SD cards lying around. Now, just for the heck of it, let's power them up. Definitely a big difference in the two. So next step is, let's get them on and let's record a little audio with each one to see how they sound by themselves. So just real quick too, some of my first impressions after getting it turned on, there was definitely a lot of steps you had to go through to actually get this thing set up. Whereas this one was kind of just turn it on and use on the go. This one is obviously a little bit more intricate, and right now it's set up for 46 hours of record time. So I think we should be perfectly fine recording podcasts with this. But on that note, let's test some audio and see how they both sound. Let's start off with the H1. So at this point, we're no longer using the audio from the DJI mic, and we're using the H1 itself. And we just have it pointed towards me as I would with just any kind of recording session with just one of these microphones. I think that's no fun. Let's find something to read to have a consistent test group across the board. So the line we're going to use incorporates some of those P's and pops. So we'll see how that sound. And, well, not to say P's, but definitely the pops. We're going to take a quote from the beloved Kevin Smith classic, Clerks. And that line is going to be, a bunch of savages in this town. Now it's time for my dramatic reading. Line face, limit face, okay. A bunch of savages in this town. And that's with the H1. And now with the Zoom H4 Essential. And the way you know it's recording, unlike the other one where you have to really pay attention, is you see here that there's red popping up showing that it's recording and we're getting some sound feedback. Now, let's test it with our line. A bunch of savages in this town. So just the sound quality of these two internally, what do you think? Do you like the H4 sound a little bit better or the original H1? Because remember, I'm getting this to start doing podcasts again. I might not always be able to track mics with me, so sometimes I might just be using these. But you know what? I got a new microphone. Let's test that out. And here it is, the Podmic by Rode. I've been a big fan of all the Rode products I've bought so far, and I think this is a good time to mention, none of this is sponsored. This is just me buying toys I want to play with and letting you guys know how I feel upon first opening them and using them. So if you can, make sure you drop a like and subscribe because, well, I make no secret of it. I would like to be sponsored, but we're not quite there yet. But let's get this one open. I know the first thing you're thinking is, oh, that's the one that everybody gets. I see that in all the podcasts, all the YouTube videos. Yeah, there's a reason. It does its job and it does it well. It meets the needs of the demographic. And for what I want to use it for, perfect option. And I do like their packaging. Rode never disappoints. Kind of like DJI, where I always think it's packed and designed really well. So upon opening it up, just a quick start guide. We'll open it up here, nothing really in there to call about. And just like the H4 Zoom, that's again, all she wrote, unless you count the silica packet to absorb the moisture. But there it is. Now let's take it out of the case here. My one concern, and it looks like I didn't pay enough attention, is it does have a smaller input for mounting. So these guys here are a little too small. So I did not think about that. So I guess I'm gonna have to get like a boom mic to hold it or something. But until then, we'll just do some generic tests with it. So I would like to use as a control my Rode Video Mic 2 so we can see how they sound differently and, well, what's better and what's not. Man, I wish I would have thought about that. It just slipped my brain. I was too excited. And there we go. I actually have it plugged in with an XLR cable into the H4 Essential into the Rode Podmic. I'm just gonna have to get a stand at some point. I feel like that dude from those viral videos that's like, hey, our last video got 6 million downloads. Can you freestyle? That's me right now. But I will not be rapping or singing. Yet. But let's see how this sounds. Like, I'm really looking forward to actually hearing how the audio sounds through a really good external mic. And also interested in hearing how it sounds with just using the regular microphones that are built in native to the H4 Essential. So I'm sure I'll be utilizing both at some point. But next stop, I got to get me one of those boom mic arms or something to hold it. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why I thought it would just take this attachment. I guess sometimes I'm just pretty, not smart. Or pretty, not smart. You do the math. All right, there we go. I got it working now. And I remember earlier, and I said, look for the red to make sure it's recording. I just recorded that whole thing without it working here. So with this, it's not just a plug and play. I actually had to go through the settings to make sure that the power line was on through the auxiliary cable. But it seems to be working now. But it is pinging really high, so I hope this is not like getting crazy loud where I have to really play with it in post. Because that's one of the selling points for me on this. It has a 32-bit flow. So in other words, or 32-bit float. So in other words, I shouldn't have to be able to mess with I shouldn't have to mess with the levels a lot. At least that's what I've taken from it. And I didn't do a whole lot of research going into this. I kind of just wanted to learn it at the same time as me showing you folks. The few videos I did watch on the Zoom stuff or the microphones were all over the place on YouTube. One of them by our friend Bandrew over there at Podcastage. That was really cool. Someone I know, doing something like in the field I'm trying to learn a lot more about. So shout out to you, Bandrew. All right, guys, tell me what you think down in the comments below. So now that you tell me your thoughts down below, I'll tell you my first thoughts. It is a little bit heavier than this, but it's obviously different sizes, but it's not crazy or over the top big, so I'm really looking forward to see how it sounded when I start to edit this video. The other part that I'm getting at is, I hope it's worth the investment. I like the simplicity so far. I haven't had to look up anything. I just kind of figured it out playing with it in just like 30 or 40 seconds in between clips. Like when I plugged in the Rode Video Mic 2, it was doing nothing. I went through the settings. After about 20 seconds, I found where it needs to have plug-in power, and that works. So it is using phantom power off of the H4 to run, but it wasn't an issue. But now I definitely want to check to see if the USB-C allows a connection into, or is it just charging? I think it's just charging and just data transfer, but I haven't bothered to play with it yet. Because like I said, I didn't do really any research on this ahead of time other than just a few videos, just to make sure this is something I wanted to try out and use. So let me know in the comments down below, and if you haven't done so, please like and subscribe. I like doing these tech videos, but I can only keep doing them if you keep watching. And if you don't keep watching, I'll probably still make them because I enjoy it. I'm weird like that. Hey guys, thanks for watching, and let's go on an adventure with you about the H4 Essential. Now, let's play with it more, and let's get back to podcasting once I get a mic stand. I can't believe I didn't think about that. Oh well, that's life.